Wow. Well, Pat McFarland helped me a lot with the first thing that I want to say this morning. And that is, I don't think I've ever said this to the audience quite like this, but you inspire me. The Michigan Credit Union movement inspires me. The volunteers, raise your hand if you're a volunteer. About a third of our audience. You give of your time, you commit your time and your energy and your passion to credit unions to serve on boards and committees. Our CEOs, our management staff, our staff. I think of my team members. My team members inspire me. We have 170 employees, and of those, we have about 50 of them participating in this event in one way or another. And I want to draw attention to one person in particular, Renee Worth. She would never want me to do this. She's our VP of Education. And Renee and I were visiting a little bit before the convention. And she actually was getting tears in her eyes as she was describing her team and what you do for her. You inspire Renee and our team. You inspire me. And I wanted to start with that because I hope to be able to inspire you on a couple of points this morning. I think that one of the important roles of the Michigan Credit Union League is to do that. And when I have a director of DIF say those kinds of words about me and my team and what we've been trying to do for the industry, that's inspiring. It's inspiring to hear Pat McFarland, as a former credit union CEO, describe the role of the regulator. Yeah, the regulators inspire me. I must be feeling good today. I was inspired to see about 50 of you out there this morning at 6:30 for that fun run. Good job, raising $4,000 for children's hospitals. I get inspired by $30,000 raised at the golf outing and $10,000 for the foundation and on and on. But what motivates me the most is a couple of the things that I'm going to talk about today. I hope to inspire us all on a couple of points. We share a passion for the credit union mission. We share a passion for telling our story about how we're different. And we should share a passion and a commitment for using technology to meet the needs of our members from all income demographics with more mobility and more technology that complements our credo and our main differentiator, which is the personal service that we provide to our members. But you know, for us as a trade association, for the Michigan Credit Union League, we're working with the Credit Union National Association to help our industry serve, grow, and remain strong so that we can all have an impact on people's lives. That's what we're here to celebrate. And my team and I love this annual convention and exposition because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate our success, to talk about the future, to inspire each other about what we're going to do next, to help people, to have an impact on people's lives. As you know, MCUL and CUNA, we focus on four things. We're trying to remove barriers and improve the charter so that you can do what you want to do, what you're passionate about, which is serving your members. We help credit unions promote the credit union difference. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. That's one of my announcements today, the new theme for the 2018 CU Link campaign. We certainly provide solutions, technology, marketing, HR solutions through CUSG, our education offerings, and we're committed to helping you with the burden of compliance. So on the front end of this, I appreciate your support, 100% affiliation for the second year in a row, 96% affiliation with CUNA, and your engagement that helps our associations work with you to do big things. So last year on this stage, CUNA CEO Jim Nussel shared the stage, and we had an opportunity to share some Michigan perspective and hear thoughts and inspiration from our CUNA CEO. Jim was unable to be with us here today, but we have a short video clip that we want to play with a message from CUNA CEO Jim Nussel. Please watch the screen.
Hey, Jim Nussel here from the Credit Union National Association. On behalf of everyone at CUNA, I wanted to just say welcome to Grand Rapids in this great annual meeting. Attending these industry events not only strengthens your credit union, but also the entire credit union movement, and for that, we thank you. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I know that Dave Adams and Ken Ross and the entire Michigan Credit Union League have a full agenda scheduled for you. But I also wanted to just give you a quick update on some of the important work that we're doing on your behalf. This year, we've launched an advocacy campaign called the Campaign for Common Sense Regulation to target the excessive one-size-fits-all rules that are harming your credit union operating environment. With this campaign, we aim to unleash the full potential of the credit union movement on the Congress. With lobbying efforts from CUNA and your Michigan Credit Union League advocates, credit union leaders just like you, and through our member activation and education program called MAP that connects with your members. If we continue to work together to tell our story to Congress about how regulatory burden makes it more challenging to serve our members, well, I believe we can achieve some pretty important advocacy victories. To learn more about how to get involved in this campaign, please visit our website. With all the compliance resources available to you, including the compliance community, the CU Comply at CUNA.com email address, the info site and e-guide Policy Pro, Comply site, and our knowledgeable compliance consultants and analysts, there's not a single compliance problem we can't solve for you, and fast. I guarantee that. Both CUNA and your league offer incredible resources for all of your needs. One of our unique and valuable benefits of membership is having access to our industry-leading professional development networks in the CUNA councils. Some of the greatest value we provide at CUNA comes in the form of these organizations, which connect credit union professionals to the resources they need in order to build their careers. Both CUNA councils and our full calendar of training and leadership learning events this year have record attendance, and both are on pace to do so again this year. Finally, our initiative to create top-of-mind consumer awareness of credit unions continues to move forward. It's led by my Creating Awareness Advisory Group, which is an experienced cross-section of industry leaders from across the country. We're really excited about the direction of this effort. Ultimately, we wanted to help raise the profile of credit unions in the marketplace and convince more consumers and people to choose credit unions as their best financial partner. And of course, the Michigan Credit Union League, as usual, has an excellent CU Link cooperative advertising campaign that's helping already to move the awareness needle. Because at the end of the day, folks, as I always like to say, growing is winning. Above all, that's what we're here to do at the Credit Union National Association, empowering credit union growth and instilling confidence in credit union leaders just like yourselves. And we couldn't do it without partners at the league just like Michigan. Thank you for your participation in this great industry event, and thank you for your support and engagement of the CUNA League system. Have a fantastic conference.
About a big round of applause for CUNA, Jim Nussel, their team, everything they do to help us. So I have three pieces to this presentation, things that I want to be inspired by and share that with you. I want to talk about our mission and a specific announcement that I'm going to make to help credit unions message that unique mission that we have of serving people. We serve everyone, but we should be focused, and we are focused, on serving especially those who are struggling to get by financially. That is the basis for the credit union charter, our not-for-profit status, and our tax-exempt status. We have that because we are different from banks. We don't just serve lower-income folks or people struggling financially. Of course not. We serve anyone and everyone who can take advantage of the credit union model, but especially those who are struggling to get by. So let me talk a little bit about this. So consider this hotel, the Amway Grand Pantland Hotel, built in the early 1900s. It actually had two banks, Kent State Bank and Old National Bank, two banks that don't exist under those names any longer, on the corners of the hotel. And banks were numerous in those days, right? We had some credit unions in Michigan and across the country forming, but we hadn't yet passed the Federal Credit Union Act. We hadn't yet structured the Credit Union National Association state leagues. For the most part, credit unions really didn't exist in the US. But then consider the Great Depression. My mother was born in 1929, and she often tells stories about being a young girl raised on a small farm in northern Wyoming. She had one dress and just a few scraggly clothes, and she and her siblings, she had 13 siblings. She was the 14th child in a farm family in Wyoming. And she often tells stories about how tough it was growing up during that 10-year and longer extended period of the Great Recession. We have a hard time keeping that in perspective. Over a 10-year period, there was a crisis in consumer confidence, there were bank runs, and half of the nation's banks failed. Credit unions were born out of that era. The chartering authority that we got with the Federal Credit Union Act and state acts and the state leagues that were formed, one of the early things that state associations did was go around to factory workers and educators and firefighters to form credit unions. In fact, in 1934, the first credit union in this area, Grand Rapids Teachers Credit Union was formed, 1934. Now Lake Michigan Credit Union, serving hundreds of thousands of members. It's the largest financial institution headquartered in Western Michigan. One of many examples of how credit unions have grown and thrived from their early beginnings. So I want to play one quick little video clip that was actually produced in the early 20s. And it's kind of interesting to draw a parallel between the message that I'm sharing today and that very early video in the early 20s. Let's play that. I put that in my presentation because that video inspires me. It reminds me a lot of the early Disney videos, the early Mickey Mouse videos. But if you watch that fun little video and you think about that, that was actually produced in the early 20s, like I said. So look at this data. We have two charts up here, compliments of the Credit Union National Association. By the way, CUNA does a phenomenal job providing industry data and statistics to help us remember and see just how well credit unions have grown and flourished. On the left side of the screen, this is a chart that goes back to the 30s, 1939 to be exact, when CUNA first started measuring the data. Notice the growth in credit union memberships, up 48 times since just the late 30s, 2 million consumers to over 108 million consumers, and a third of the population, up 48 times. On the right side, you see the Michigan data. Our growth has been even greater, up 76 times since 1939, from a mere 65,000 members to over 5 million, half the population in the state of Michigan. I think you're doing a pretty good job spreading the word, helping people take advantage of credit unions. But there's a line there that might be a little tougher to see with this big crowd, but the red dotted line is the number of members in state-chartered credit unions, and the blue is the number of members in federally chartered credit unions in the state of Michigan. In 2004, when those lines parted ways and you saw the state-chartered credit union numbers skyrocketing, that was when we updated the State Credit Union Act with your help that allowed for broader fields of membership and an easier path to expanding fields of membership. So although 2/3 of the credit unions in Michigan operate with a state charter, 80% of the members and assets are now in the state charter. Why does that matter? It matters because it's another example of how when we're engaged in advocacy, removing barriers, improving our charters, both with the state charter and the federal charter, we make it easier for credit unions to do business. And I'm proud of the fact that we've done that. But the real message is the phenomenal membership growth. More recently, you can look at that data and you see, again, on the US side, last year, 4.1% membership growth, and Michigan 3.6%. This is the strongest, most robust membership growth in Michigan and across the country that we've seen in decades. Why does that matter? You're doing a great job getting your message out. We can always do better. But the real message, I think, is that people need credit unions. And they realize that we're here to help everyone, but especially those struggling to get by. A great message to see the growth we've had. Now, not everything is rosy, and I'm going to get to the mission part of this more specifically in a moment. But here's the consolidation in our industry. On the left side, the number of credit unions in the US peaked at about 24,000, and now we're just above 6,000, a 75% reduction from the peak to where we're at now, and down 32% just in the last 10 years. The data is pretty close to the same for Michigan. You can see it there. But the message here is, when you look at the top, the good news is, in Michigan, over 80% of our credit unions are growing their assets and had positive earnings. So credit unions, large and small, are surviving and doing well. Not all credit unions, obviously, that'll never be the case. But when we look at this data, it's a stark reminder that we're in a competitive environment with a lot of forces that are driving consolidation. But we're doing more good for more people with fewer credit unions. And we need to be challenged to make sure that those credit unions who survive find the most creative ways and the most committed and passionate ways to meet the needs of the public we're trying to reach. So the popularity of credit unions, membership growth. Pat McFarland mentioned the unprecedented loan growth, deposit growth, our asset growth. The numbers are fabulous. They're the same in Michigan. I won't go into the detail of this data. You read about it and you know that we have a lot to celebrate right now in terms of our growth. Our successes in Michigan, you can see one thing I wanted to point out here on the far right side, member business lending growth for Michigan credit unions, over 20% last year, almost double what it was nationally. That's a trend we've seen, so we see credit unions, especially in Michigan, doing more to reach out and serve small businesses who need the value and the service that credit unions provide. So here's the real message. We offer a better value. Our credit card rates average 5% lower than banks. Our auto loan rates, even at very low rate levels, we average about 1% lower. Our mortgage costs are lower. The savings rates are better, and it all aggregates up to this: over $373 million every year in direct financial benefit for those who take advantage of credit unions in the state of Michigan. Give yourselves a big round of applause for that. That is the value, how we're saving our members money, and we're serving people in ways that others either refuse to do or cannot do. But here's the connection to mission. And yet a lot of people are hurting, right? We have an urban issues task force that was formed that is still working on this issue of looking at data and looking at possible solutions for credit unions to do more, especially in urban areas. And the data is pretty stark. So in Detroit, 40% of Detroiters live below the poverty line, compared to 15% nationally. Just think about that data for a moment. I recently toured downtown Detroit, and it's phenomenal how Detroit is coming back. Quicken Loans and Dan Gilbert buying up buildings, refurbishing them, leasing them out, new housing in Detroit. You know, you look at what's happening in Detroit and it's exciting, but they have such a long way to go. 40% below the poverty line, 62% have subprime credit, 27% of Detroiters have access to traditional forms of revolving credit, compared to 50%. Even in Rust Belt cities, only a quarter of them have access to that. And about half of Detroiters are either underbanked or fully unbanked, okay? Half of them. So that's pretty stark. And in fact, what the consultant pointed out for the task force is that if you take a drive down a 2.5-mile stretch of 7-mile road in Detroit, you'll see 25 different alternative financial service providers, right? Payday lenders, check cashers, wire transfer outlets, tax prep providers, and only 2 financial institutions. Now that doesn't mean that One Detroit Credit Union and Diversified Members and Credit Union One and Michigan First and other credit unions aren't doing a great job in Detroit. When I did my tour recently, I was really pleased to go through a tough neighborhood that was coming back and I saw a Michigan First branch on a corner. And I texted Mike Polus and said, hey, this inspires me, by the way. I told him that. And he said, well, we have a total of, I think it was 4 or 5 branches in Detroit. Credit unions are there. The question is, what more can we do? Those credit unions that serve metropolitan Detroit, those credit unions that are headquartered in Detroit, there are so many needs. And it's not just Detroit, it's other urban areas and it's all across Michigan. So when we think about Michigan and we recognize the struggles of Americans across the country. This data comes from a Federal Reserve report on the economic well-being of U.S. households from last year. You've seen some of it. I won't spend a lot of time here. A third of all Americans report that they're struggling to get by financially. 46% say that they couldn't meet an emergency expense of $400. That's pretty stark. Almost a quarter say that they've experienced fluctuations in income and expenses, and 40% of those say that they face real or perceived difficulty in accessing credit. So the data goes on and on. And so as I'm making a transition here, it's really to thank you for what you do, to realize that those struggling to get by are the ones who really need the credit union idea. And I have an announcement that I'm going to make that it will be a tool to help our Michigan credit unions and our U.S. credit unions with that challenge. But first I want to play a video clip here with a couple of your peers commenting on this challenge of how we double down to serve people who are just getting by. Let's play that.
As credit unions, we were all founded by groups of people that were left out of the financial mainstream. And it kind of gets back to our roots.
There's so many unbanked people. Credit unions just have a world of opportunity to bring people in that have not yet experienced regular type of banking services.
The question isn't really, are there opportunities? Their opportunities are boundless. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And how are we going to leverage what we have, our missions, to do something about it, to find creative ways to serve the people that are left out of the financial mainstream.
I'd love to have people come in and we could just tell them all the things credit unions could offer to help them get ahead financially.
So Hank is right. Hank and Karen, both great comments there. The question isn't, is there a challenge? It's what are we going to do about it? So we're going to hear from Dan Schulman after I wrap up my remarks here. And I think you know he's the CEO of PayPal. You may recall that he was formerly with American Express, and he was on this stage 3 years ago. I've heard Dan speak maybe 4 times at other conferences, and one time here and again today. And when he was here last time 3 years ago in his capacity at American Express, he talked about the Serve product that they created there that was white labeled as Bluebird, the Spent movie that was launched, and we were inspired by that. And so we have developed a campaign that starts with a documentary called Just Getting By, and I'm going to announce that here in a moment. But again, in search of a solution, a quarter of employed adults are working multiple jobs. Almost a quarter expect their income to be higher, 75% do not. Income variance, volatile income, making it difficult to make ends meet. And so the Just Getting By documentary, I'm going to show you just a short trailer of it. We're going to launch it today. There's a website set up, and it's kind of taking a page out of the Amex book with the Spent movie, only we're going to take a more extensive view, showcasing 19 different Americans in different kinds of situations: cyclical debt, limited access to credit, excessive debt, poor savings and retirement planning, major crises that come up that affect them. And we have some subject matter experts. We have their stories. We have the whole documentary. We're going to launch it. We're going to get your feedback. And then we're going to make available vignettes, short videos, and other content for social media to help credit unions make that point with consumers that we understand that people are challenged and are struggling to get by. And we are part of the solution for that. So I want to play this short trailer to give you a sense of what is in the documentary.
I'm totally living paycheck to paycheck, where sometimes at the end of the month, I'm at like $2 left in my account.
Didn't know anything about the interest rate or, who to finance it through or anything.
I just knew that I wanted to go to school and I wanted to work in the hospital and I wanted to help people. I learned at a very young age.
The government on this United States.
The student loan industry.
All these credit cards.
And payday loans.
Are bad because they know that they're
manipulating you to spend money that you don't want to spend.
We weren't
I guess, careful enough with them.
Life is never easy.
It made me mad.
And it doesn't feel good. It's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
I mean, you go from making $400,000 a year to
Making $10 or $12 an hour.
And I'm hoping that by the time I'm 33, I'll be completely debt-free.
Well, believe me, it's never going to happen.
Or people will say this too to me sometimes. It's like, how do you not have money? You work 4 jobs, you work every day. Like, I don't even know how to answer that. It feels like I'm just constantly drowning and I will never catch up. I mean, it's miserable.
Our world grows more expensive by the day, and people are struggling to keep up. Wages are flatlining. The American middle class is shrinking, and for many, options appear scarce. They're turning to risky behaviors, predatory lending, spending where they shouldn't, and getting caught. Caught in a vicious cycle of debt, depleting savings accounts, and creating an entirely new set of problems. The worst part is, most just don't know any better. This is the story of people doing all they can, but still are unable to break from the shackles of debt. The story of an America not yet recovered from the Great Recession. This is the story of those of us who are just getting by.
So that inspires me, and I'm pretty confident that it inspires you. The message behind that and the real examples of people struggling to get by. And you see them, you serve them every day through your credit union. So what we need to do with this, and this is where mission meets messaging. So with these compelling, relatable stories and the video content and the other resources and marketing assets that we'll provide, you'll have an opportunity to tag to this and push it out through social media and give us feedback on how you can use this content to get the message out that, you know, credit unions are here to help. So if you're already a member, talk to us. Let us consult with you. Let us help you. If you're not yet a credit union member, join the credit union. We're not going to be able to meet all your needs. If you have damaged credit and we're not able to make you a loan, we're going to find ways to provide counseling and help you. But that's the point behind this project. Launching today, Michigan pilot in July, full Michigan launch in September, national launch in January. So the ask here is go to the website, justgettingby.org today, watch the documentary, take the time to watch it, give us your feedback, give us your thoughts on how we could implement this in Michigan in a way that helps us get our message out. Sign up to be a pilot and help us build this. We didn't have a Hollywood budget to put this together. I want to specifically recognize Nick Alexa and Aaron Cluck and Christy Chesney and our Cube TV team for putting this together and helping us with the foundation for what I think is going to be a really great project. Well, so the second announcement and topic that I want to cover is when I think about what inspires me and what inspires us and what we're passionate about and what we're committed to, the second thing is our message. Beyond the just getting by, the message, the very specific message of we're here to help people who are struggling. In a broader context, we have our CUSG Link cooperative advertising campaign, and the new theme for this campaign for 2018 is there's real strength in our numbers. So a little bit more data. CUNA recently did some research for their consumer awareness campaign, and there are 4 major myths. These are some of the things that consumers say when they're surveyed about credit unions. One, they think it's, believe it or not, there's still a significant percentage of people who don't realize they're eligible to join. I don't think that's as true in Michigan because of our cooperative advertising. We need to help people understand that everybody can join a credit union. Sadly, and this is where the prior message might conflict a little bit, we need to make sure that we have a campaign like this that runs alongside the Just Getting By campaign, because a lot of people still think that credit unions were organized just to serve the poor and that that's what we do. Well, we're passionate about that, but we serve everyone from all walks of life, and we need to communicate that. sometimes people perceive credit unions are less accessible, so our branches and our ATM locations aren't perceived as being convenient enough. And the fourth thing is they don't think we're sophisticated enough, that we have the professionalism and the ability to protect them against fraud and cybercrime and provide professional services. That's from the CUNA data. So this campaign that we've had in Michigan for decades that has really grown with your support, 100% of you support CU Link. We put over $2 million into the campaign, and we have a real commitment from Michigan credit unions to cooperative advertising. We measure this every year, and if you look at the line there, the simple question that we ask in Michigan of consumers is if you were to set up a banking account today, would you consider a credit union? Or would you consider a bank as your most likely choice to set up an account? Notice back in 2004, only half of those surveyed said they'd consider a credit union, the blue line. And since 2011, we have overtaken the perceptions of interest in setting up a bank account versus setting up an account with credit unions. So we are moving the needle. I love this data. It reinforces that our value proposition, when we partner with organizations like Sprint for a credit member discount and others, or when we talk about the credit union difference, our data shows that people are twice as likely to say they trust their credit union, they're twice as likely to recommend their credit union to a friend or family member than would be a bank customer. So, likewise, our data also shows that even in Michigan, a third of the respondents from our research think that we don't have enough branches and ATMs. Even though there are 20,000 credit union offices in the US and 1,000 combined branches, many of them linked together through shared branching. But that's a perception we need to overcome. Similar to CUNA's findings, a quarter of the people surveyed in Michigan think that our ATMs are inconvenient. And the third point here, this is actually a cup 90% full. So we had a data point here that said 10% think that we don't offer a good value on rates and fees. Well, I flipped that around. That's actually the good news. 90% do believe that we offer a great value. So I want to introduce now our 2018 There's Real Strength in Our Numbers campaign. I have a short video vignette here to show that announces what the campaign is going to be for next year. Please roll it.
Numbers matter. And for Michigan's credit unions, there's a story in our numbers. Think of a number, any number. Multiply that by 100. Thanks to you, 100% of Michigan's credit unions participate in cooperative advertising. When consumers search for auto loans, read an online publication, or skim social media, we're there. Think of another number. Now multiply that by 2 million, the media investment for CU Link this year alone, making it the most successful cooperative advertising campaign in the nation. When members are sitting in gridlock, gassing up their cars, or kicking their feet up at the end of a long day, we're there. Here's another number, 5 million. It's the number of Michiganders who trust you with their financial well-being because you make them feel like number one. Everywhere we look, there are numbers. Some are inspiring, like a 16-year-old looking for their first car. Some are terrifying, like the savings needed for college tuition or to start a new business. But that's why you're here, to help these numbers make sense to every single one of your members, their families, and the people in your communities. Credit unions are there as a trusted partner. It's what we're all about. Through mobile banking, e-deposits, or surcharge-free ATMs, we've listened to our members, and it's time to let the numbers speak. Introducing the new 2018 CU Link campaign. There's real strength in our numbers. We'll focus on those numbers we juggle every day. Small numbers like 5%, the average difference in credit card rates between credit unions and banks. Everyday numbers like $200, the average savings on closing costs for credit union members. Or $118, the average amount a person saves in interest on that new $25,000 auto loan every year. These quickly turn into big numbers, like $373 million, the amount Michigan credit unions saved their members last year alone. When it comes to buying a home, saving for a vacation, or starting a business, the numbers tell the story. And our numbers rival anything banks can offer. These numbers can seem small at first, but they become something greater when you look at the impact they make. Michigan's credit unions give their members a financial advantage every single day. With this campaign, our goal is simple. Create awareness for Michigan's credit unions to increase cross-sell opportunities and introduce the benefits of your credit union to a new generation. Like our current campaign, this one will make an emotional link between your members' daily lives and the benefits of using a credit union. But we can't do it alone. When we work together through a cooperative effort, we all grow stronger. With our last campaign, we invested more than $4 million across media channels to showcase the credit union difference to the nearly 10 million people who live in our state. While 4 million and 10 million seem like pretty big numbers, they all come down to just one. Because to you, your members are number one. For Michigan's credit unions, it's time. There's real strength in our numbers.
What inspires me about cooperative advertising and your commitment to it is not just how we move the needle, but how it helps us internally within our credit unions and within our industry understand and be reminded of how we're different. And I thought that video did a really nice job of describing what's in store for 2018. So our campaign is about helping us reach out to 10 million citizens of Michigan to get that message out, so that we can not just bring on new credit members, but deepen the engagement and the trust and the understanding of how credit unions are here to help them. A couple of your peers shared some perspectives on cooperative advertising. I'd like to run a short video with their thoughts as well.
I think cooperative advertising is so important. You know, as the financial services landscape changes and a lot of us become competitors in ways that we never were before, I think it's still very important that we recognize that, you know, coming together as a cooperative and participating together is where we really become strong.
You know, I really love this theme. I love the idea of using numbers. Numbers are very powerful, very concrete, and I think using them in this campaign really helps quantify the value of credit union membership.
You know, I like the play of strength. Strength implies that, you know, credit unions are strong. We're not always seen or thought that way. So that word, I think, is very meaningful, but also the numbers aspect.
We often say that, you know, our rates are lower than banks, but when we can say, on average, our credit card rates are 6% lower than a bank, that's really powerful, and that's the credit union difference.
So Lisa is actually the chair of our Credit Union Difference Committee, and our committee and our board and our staff have put together this great new theme for next year. So we have $2 million to invest, but the message here is we'd like to have all of our credit unions contribute the full fair share and get engaged and committed to cooperative advertising. And as a full fair share contributor, you're going to have money back to integrate with your campaign, and you're going to have access to the Just Getting By campaign at no cost. And there are several other value adds. But our target is millennials, and secondary audience would be those 35 to 54. So that's really a pitch and at the same time an announcement. I hope you like the theme, and I hope that you leave here and get back to your shops and double down on what you've done so well for decades, which is collaborate and work together to help us spread the word. I don't know about you, but I've heard again and again from people within the industry that, and people outside the industry for that matter, who say that credit unions is one of the best kept secrets, because we have what people need, but oftentimes we're not doing all that we can or should be doing to get that message out. So the first two messages, one, we serve everybody. Our mission, we need to find tools and resources to more effectively convey to the public, our members and our potential members, that we're here to help people of all walks, but especially those just getting by. The second one is our commitment to messaging. And the third message I have is our commitment to mobility. We live in a mobile world, obviously. Members demand it. And I think it makes a nice segue from this message when I bring Dan Schulman up in a moment for a number of reasons. One, PayPal is the leader in payments. And they serve a third of the public with their PayPal product. They own Venmo, which is used by 65% of millennials who say they use a P2P product. They say they use Venmo. They have a great product called Xoom, X-O-O-M, that helps with international payments. But PayPal, at its core, under Dan's leadership, they're focused on doing a lot of the same things that credit unions are all about. They're trying to provide simple, affordable payment services for consumers and small businesses that are reliable. They have the product, they've done a phenomenal job, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Dan. And I also want to comment quickly again on Dan, because I've been inspired by his passion for mission, both in terms of what he did at Amex, but now what he's doing at PayPal. And we're looking creatively at how we can partner with PayPal to kind of align our missions with their great product offerings connected to credit union debit cards and checking accounts. So let me talk about this third theme. From a recent study just released last week, Fiserv did a study of consumers in terms of their financial services and mobile. Not surprisingly, 75% use online banking, 74% use it to pay bills. That's no surprise. But approaching half of those consumers say they use the mobile banking product, and of those, 2/3 of them use it to pay bills. So that's true throughout this audience. We know we're using our phones to check account balances, to transfer money, to pay bills, and to do remote deposit capture. Those seem to be the 4 things that credit unions do with mobile banking. Also from the study, some of the things that they use their mobile banking service for: to view balances, to transfer money, to pay bills. A growing percentage are using it for remote deposit capture. That's fairly new, so that's great. And account alerts. In the call-out box there, that data is kind of interesting to me, because the lower income demographic actually is more likely to have a smartphone than higher income demographic. And about 13% of the population that fall into that category, that live below the $30,000 per year income line, they actually rely on their smartphone for basic access to the internet as well. So the question here becomes, so credit unions have mobile banking products. We're trying to be as innovative as we can be. But how can we take it a step further? How can we create a message and deliver on a promise to where we're going to help members with all of their life's big decisions through a mobile platform? So digital wallets are gaining ground. I mentioned Venmo. So a recent study showed that 65% of millennials, right, 65% of millennials use P2P to transfer money to a friend or family member, or for a P2P transfer. 65%. And of those, 68% use Venmo, the product owned by PayPal. 22% say they use their bank app. And every day we hear of credit unions launching a P2P product. Sometimes it's white labeled. There's another competitor in the market, Zelle, which is a product owned by the 5 money center banks. CUSG is looking to partner with PayPal so that as a default we can say, you know what, credit unions, your members are already using PayPal and Venmo. Why not message to them that they ought to do that with the credit union debit card and checking account? As opposed to creating a new P2P product that you hope to get traction with. 1/3 of all US adults use PayPal. I mentioned that earlier. So some other data points, 43%, this is what people are asking for. 43% say they want to be able to have card controls to turn access off to their cards when they're traveling. Over a quarter of these folks, 28%, want to use their phone to access cash without an ATM card. By the way, that's a product that we've launched for a large credit union in California, and we're partnering with PayPal to do that with the Paydiant platform. There's an app that we have developed and have launched it with a large credit union in California to do just that. I'll show you that in a moment. But about a quarter of those surveyed say, you know what, that's something that we would like. And about a quarter of those surveyed also want speed, obviously. So people are more and more sensitive to the fact that when they transfer money, P2P, they want it to be instantaneous. So obviously we need to adapt and to thrive and prosper and meet the needs of our members and be relevant in this very dynamic financial services industry. We need to be disruptors ourselves. We need to think differently about technology and mobile technology in particular. Let me share a couple of comments from a couple of your peers on this issue of mobile banking.
I think we've done a great job at getting our credit union identity out there. What's a credit union? But now I think our next step is getting out there that we have the technologies that can compete with the big players.
It's extremely important for credit unions to remain relevant with all of its membership, especially with millennials, and mobile devices and mobile apps are going to be key in doing that.
I think it's staying on top of the technology. The technology changes so much that every time we think we're delivering a product that's competitive, what we're finding is that we're 2 steps behind the Bank of Americas and the Chases.
I'm excited to learn more about the LifeSteps product because I think that it will span all generations, and I think it'll be extremely relevant to millennials. So I'm interested to see how it's going to make mobile banking useful, how it's going to enhance mobile banking, and just make your everyday life events, going to the grocery store, going to the movies, a lot easier and integrate with mobile banking.
So today I'm introducing a product called LifeSteps Wallet. It's a product offered by a company called LifeSteps Solutions that was purchased, the majority ownership of that was purchased by CUSG. We've taken their team and their product and we've integrated them with CUSG to reinvent a product that they already had. They had launched a product similar to this with San Diego County Credit Union, an $8 billion credit union in California, along with the cardless ATM cash feature. But we wanted to hit the pause button and take the talent of that team and meld it with our team and think about how we could reinvent this product before we take it back to market, which is what we plan to do now. This early stage announcement that I'm making here today is to let you know a little bit about the product, let you know where we're at in the development, and seek your feedback so that with your help, we can launch this in Michigan and selectively outside Michigan, and eventually bring a great product that will help credit unions of all sizes expand the number of features that they offer to their members to help with life's big decisions. So LifeSteps Wallet is going to be, it's a container of best-in-class apps around shopping, home, auto, and financial wellness. And I'll give you a short demo here in a moment. But it's taking some of these best-in-class apps like Zillow for home buying and Yelp for directory and order ahead and making reservations. Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z, which is to get ideas for home improvement, as well as other apps, including PayPal and Venmo and Zoom, and other apps that we would either own, create, or partner with someone. Home Advisors is one that's in this container that helps your members gain access to a handyman to help fix things at home. And I'll give, again, a demonstration about all these features. Before I do, I want to play a short video vignette about LifeSteps Solutions and LifeSteps Wallet. Let's roll that, please.
Technology races ahead at an explosive pace. Credit unions are constantly challenged to keep up if they want to satisfy consumer expectations. Speed, simplicity, value. People, millennials especially, expect it all, and more. They demand it in a mobile package. To a bank, it might just be about the products, but to consumers, how to spend, save, borrow, and invest money is personal. It's about all the daily moments that contribute to life's big decisions. Moments as simple as everyday shopping. Consumers shop online, but they also use the web to find local deals. Savings that add up when purchasing a new house or car. That's why CU Solutions Group has invested in LifeSteps Solutions to bring you LifeSteps Wallet, an all-new mobile app with an expanded vision to make credit unions more relevant, more fun, simpler, easier, faster, more in touch with what members need, help with life's big decisions.
The vision of LifeSteps Solutions is to help credit unions offer members dramatically increased mobile functionality. We want members to do their mobile browsing, shopping, and spending in a way that always connects back to the credit union.
LifeSteps Solutions will focus on helping credit unions improve the member experience through the mobile channel.
What if everyday activities were intuitively connected back to credit unions, from shopping for local discounts to financial planning? And what if that same app allowed for those little decisions to be connected to truly big ones, like buying a car or house? All with discounts that are exclusive to credit unions.
We know that our alliance with LifeSteps Solutions will bring great exclusive member discount offers. It'll bring our very strong mobile technology and marketing capabilities and tremendous synergies with product development, sales, and client relations.
The vision of LifeSteps Solutions is to make mobile banking enhancements available to credit unions of all sizes. Daily shopping needs, decisions about cars, home ownership, planning and saving for the future. LifeStep Solutions will bring it all together in a cutting-edge mobile package that meets millennials and all 21st century consumers where life takes them.
We'll evolve with a very dynamic mobile wallet landscape to make sure credit unions' cards are top of mind and top of wallet.
Millennials and a growing segment of the broader population will love their credit union even more with this new suite of mobile banking enhancements offered by LifeStep Solutions.
LifeStep Solutions, mobile solutions for life's big decisions.
So this inspires me as well, because I know that through our collaboration and our commitment to investing in technology, we can do some really great things to meld our service mission with the technology that especially millennials, but our entire swath of our membership is looking for. So this, as the video pointed out, this product will help keep credit unions top of mind, top of wallet through great partnerships that are inside this container. It's all customizable and modular. So while we'll be offering a base container that is branded, fully branded, starting at $5,000 a year, and you can add to that based on the customization work. Later in the year, we'll launch a small credit union version at as little as $1,000 a year with the ability to customize it up. You can do as much branding, you can do as much swapping out of modules and functionality as you want. But again, the key is this is where mobile meets messaging and mission, because our mission is to serve everybody, especially those just getting by. We need to convey who we are and how we can be in front of our members with every purchasing and research decision that they make online. And we need to do it with mobility. So this is a product that at the core is about helping your members save time and money. And after all, isn't that what people are really looking for? Yes, they want the value of the credit union, but they want your help with their auto buying and maintenance decision, and their home buying and maintenance decision, and their shopping, and the financial wellness things that they deal with, all in a way that points them to the role that credit unions play with your financial services. So now I'd like to give actually a quick glimpse of the product. And if everything goes right here, I'm going to be able to pull this up on screen. There it is. So I am now going to pull this up. Zeal Credit. This is, by the way, Zeal hasn't purchased this product yet. I need to get that disclaimer. But we wanted to do it with a credit union that you'd be familiar with. So the launch page would be Zeal Credit Union branding. And the account has already been set up. Had I not set up an account, obviously I would put my information in, and I'd be prompted for that data. But at this point, I'm now logging on, and what you'll see here is the customization vision for the product. So we'll ask questions. This will evolve over time. We'll ask questions. So where do you see this step in your future? Buying a new car? Well, pretty soon. What about, where do you see this? Buying a house someday, right? Swipe. Getting married, I'll hesitate a little bit on that one, but I'll say someday. And then what about planning a vacation? I hope so soon after this convention wraps up. But so now I'm launched into the container, and what you'll see up at the top is this is a format where all of the essential things that you want your credit union to see offered from the credit union are right up there, bold, front and center. And then there are categories for shopping, travel, auto, home, and financial wellness. Let me give you just a quick glimpse of this functionality. So think about this container that connects to your mobile banking platform, but does much, much more than just the transactions, the account balances, and the bill pay and the money transfers. So with the first touch here, I'm actually linked with a thumbprint authentication to my credit union mobile banking platform. And so with a touch, I'm now moving inside to where I can move money around, I can do my transfers, I can do my bill pay, all the basic transactional things. And with one touch up in the upper left-hand corner, I'm back out to the container. Now here's the really cool part for me. I mentioned P2P. That's where it's at for millennials and a growing portion of the public. So when I click on send and receive money up at the top, we've integrated PayPal's great products, but we're messaging to the consumer, to your members, that they ought to use the credit union debit card or transaction account. So Venmo is the first one. Again, of the 60% of the millennials who said they use this, 68% of them say they use Venmo already. Your members are already using it, so why not message to them that they ought to use the credit union debit card, or if they're setting up an account, do that. So there's a little bit of messaging, and then with one click, I'm now giving a thumbprint authentication, and I'm now into my Venmo product. That the strength of Venmo is this social media aspect where friends can see, you know, what's happening with P2P. You can turn this off if you don't like it. Not everybody likes it. But anyway, you're right into Venmo. With a click, I'm out of that. And what about PayPal? PayPal is used by 1/3 of your members already and a growing portion of the public, mainly for online purchases, but there's some in-store capability as well. So with one click, I'm seeing the messaging again. PayPal, great product, and why don't you use your Zelle credit union debit card if you're going to use your PayPal through this container. And with one click, I proceed forward, I give my thumbprint authentication, and I'm into the PayPal product. Again, a touch, and I'm back out. Now Zoom I won't talk too much about, but it's a product of PayPal that reduces the cost for consumers for international money transfers. A flat fee versus a percentage of the transaction. It's a great product, right in the sweet spot for credit unions. But I've clicked out of this, and I'm still, again, going over features that are really the bread and butter for credit unions, right? The mobile banking platform, P2P transfers. Well, what about cardless cash? This is a product that we activate through a partnership with PayPal. We've already done it for San Diego County in California. And with a click here, there's some information that describes it, and there's actually a short video, so that if you launch this, you'd be able to educate your members with video vignettes. And I'll give you an example of how San Diego County does this. So they have a short little video here. This will play without sound for you today, but I can kind of message through this. Hopefully. Looks like that might be hanging up a little bit, so we won't do that. We'll go back. I'll show you this way. So this is an example. So in the mobile banking app, the cardless cash, I indicate which account I want to take it out of. I say I want to take $20 out. I click that I want it now, and now I go to a credit union ATM, and I scan a QR code on the ATM, and the transaction is done. I don't have to ever pull my card out. Now, I know a lot of you will say, and I would say the same, I don't mind using my card. But keep in mind that 28% of those consumers surveyed said they are intrigued by this. And the big banks are marketing the heck out of this right now. So, again, mobility, features, giving consumers what they want. That's what mobile cardless cash is about. Now, still talking about the upper part, the bread and butter of what you do, what about a free ATM and branch, or a finder for your free ATM access and your branches? With one click, we're providing access to the co-op ATM network. You can see right here where I'm at, it's the geolocator brings up the red being the ATMs, the blue being the branches. I can list them, and I can click on the one that's closest, and I can navigate with it's a matter of clicks to find a surcharge-free ATM or a branch. One click, I'm back to the container. And now what about applying for a loan? I click on apply for a loan, and if you have an online loan application feature, we'll plug it in. If you don't, we'll provide one to you to help your members apply for a credit card, a personal loan, a vehicle loan, a home loan, and to check loan status, all within this mobile container. So that's the essence of the credit union specific features. Now let's talk a little bit about the other help with life's big decisions. So shopping, we have a partnership with Yelp, a custom API so that when we click on directory, we can program the categories that we think are the most likely categories that people are going to look for a business. So if you click on food, obviously, I click on that. And much like OpenTable and Yelp, the local restaurants come up here, and with a click or two, I see the Chop House. We had a lovely dinner there last night with Dan Schulman, engaging conversation and wonderful, wonderful company and great service. So you're familiar with these services. The point is we're embedding them in a container and customizing them where we'll be able to message to the member, use your credit union debit or credit card for the shopping that you do. Also in shopping, we have coupons features. We have national coupons through partnerships that provide coupons. You can take a picture of a coupon, store it in a folder, and then go shop. You're adding value to the shopping experience. Grocery coupons, the same thing, a link to coupons.com to get clip coupons. You can clip the coupons, put them in a folder, print them out. We're helping to save time and money, brought to you by your credit union. All right. So also in shopping, loyalty cards, phone pay is an interesting one. We hope at some point to help credit unions. This was the original mission of CU Wallet, to help credit unions with in-store payment capability. Right now it's about educating. So in the phone pay folder, we're going to have resources. This is one as an example where I can list the businesses that currently accept Apple Pay. So at least I know if I'm jazzed by that and I want to use my phone to use my Apple Pay with my credit union debit, I can easily find a directory of those services. Wireless discounts, there's a storage folder that helps with receipts and other documents that I'll show you in a moment. And then we have a category for travel, an Orbitz-like product powered by a company called Torico for hotels, air, cruises, rental cars, etc. In auto, the bread and butter for credit unions, an auto research and buying service. We're helping members get prepared to buy with consumer information about shopping. And then we have a default auto buying service with our partner Cuddle, CU Direct, which would take your members to that default auto buying service. So obviously you can search for a car, by zip code, you get the idea. Many of you have those. If you wanted to plug yours in, whether it's TrueCar or Cuddle, whatever it is, we plug it in there. So that's auto research, auto maintenance. So we have partnerships to help with coupons and deals for auto maintenance, parts, service, a maintenance log. You get the idea. When it comes to financing, again, we want to make it easy to make the connection. You've done your research. Now click and apply for a loan. There will be another one there that allows you to get the rates of the credit union. So you're informing yourself, you're shopping, and ultimately you're using this mobile wallet container for financing, for insuring the vehicle, roadside assistance, and so on. In the home category, likewise, when it comes to home buying, there are a couple facets to this. One is getting information about smart home buying, and the other is to link to Zillow, where Zillow is the best-in-class solution for finding homes in your area, designated area, where you can price homes and do your shopping. And then when it comes time to finance, you have the finance link. Here are a couple cool things that I really like. What about home maintenance? So home maintenance, we have maintenance deals. Again, national coupons, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. We have a folder for your important documents at home. And what about maintenance tips? We have a great partnership we're exploring with a company called BrightNest that prompts consumers about everything that they deal with in the home. And based on those prompts, they feed messages to give resources and tools for home maintenance. Another folder in the home category is actually home improvement. And I mentioned the partnership with Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z, for interior design. If you're familiar with this product, there's a ton of great ideas with photo content that helps give your members access to that information. Contractors, I mentioned home advisors. So again, you're getting in front of your members with a product where they can search for somebody, whether it's lawn care or fixing a furnace or whatever it is. And then the last category that I'll show you as I wrap up here is financial wellness. And there's so much potential. When you think about this container, we have all these tiles. We can, as we develop new apps, as we make new partnerships, we can add content on an ongoing basis to help credit unions serve their members. But in the financial wellness category, identity protection is obviously one. So we'll have a partnership there. If you have one that you're already using, we'll plug yours in. When it comes to investing, we'll have links to your own investment services, as well as other resources to help your members with their investing. And finally, the last thing that I want to show you here is the document storage feature. So we're creating this document storage feature. I've loaded a few examples. category by category: shopping, auto, home, legal, and then basically I've taken pictures either from my phone or with the camera, and there's a loyalty card, proof of insurance, picture of a car that I got off the home buying service. What about a lien release from the credit union? This is all about helping members save time and money brought to them by their credit union in a way that links to your financial services, LifeSteps Wallet, and I wanted to announce that today. All right, so we have credit unions who are starting to sign up for this product, early adopters. We're talking to them about it. We want to put you on that list if you're interested, and we want to learn from the collaboration in the early stages of this to make it better. So the dots I've tried to connect here this morning, right before I bring up Dan Schulman, is that we share a commitment and a passion. I'm inspired, my team is inspired, and I hope you're inspired by the commitment that we share with you to help project our mission, especially that of helping people who are just getting by. So the Just Getting By campaign, the new CU Link campaign that launches next year, and LifeSteps Wallet. I hope you found this valuable. I appreciate your attention. And on behalf of my whole team, we are honored and very, very pleased to work alongside you to help advance the credit union mission in Michigan, and in the case of CUSG, nationally. Thank you very much.